caught my eye. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it too. There's nothing that, there ain't nothing that I need.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you.
Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. La 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 la, take me home. Mommy, I'm coming home.
So I'm back in Pennsylvania now, and after having a week to kind of process and reflect on my experience in Wales, it's really amazing to look back and think about how much I've grown since boarding that airplane at Newark like 4 weeks ago. I chose this short-term study abroad program because as a student athlete, it's really hard to find time to dedicate a full semester to studying abroad. And the Wales trip offered the opportunity for me to participate in a lot of activities like climbing, hiking, and kayaking that I really love and enjoy, but haven't really found the time to do while I was in college. Little did I know, though, that I was about to embark upon a 3-week whirlwind of a course where, by diving into the experiential learning process, I was able to push my physical and mental strength limits, climb to new heights, and make relationships with people that I really didn't know coming into this course that I can now say will last a lifetime and call them my family. So the goal of this trip was to really explore how experience connects to learning while submerging ourselves in the rich history of the Welsh culture. Through a 3-week adventure course, we applied the educational theories of Dewey, Kolb, and Mortlock to a wide range of outdoor activities in the 3 major national parks in Wales, where we focused on personal and social development as well as understanding risk versus adventure. So our trip began with us at our home base at the University of Wales Trinity St. David in Carmarthen, where we bonded on our first night by cooking dinner together as a group and going into the town at night. This night really set our group dynamic up for the rest of the trip, as it was our first opportunity to have some downtime together and make some real honest connections. Our first national park that we visited was Brecon Beacon National Park in South Wales. Here we visited Cerrig Cennin Castle on the first day and learned some Welsh history and some cool fun facts, like how Wales is home to 641 castles and 11 million sheep. While in Brecon Beacon, we were also introduced to our first real challenge on the second day there, which was summiting Pen y Fan, the highest point in South Wales.
So we're here today, hiking in Brecon Beacon National Park. That's how you say it. It's one of 3 national parks in Wales. It's in South Wales. And game plan today is to hike the biggest peak in South Wales. About 10 kilometer hike. We'll get there soon. Keep you posted. Pen y Fan, here we come.
Before the hike, we really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, which became a common theme throughout the trip. That actually helped us to shape our own personal experiences to what we wanted them to be and push ourselves out of our own comfort zones. I've done a lot of hikes, and this was one of the toughest hikes that I've been on, and it really set the standard for what the rest of the trip was going to be.
All right, so here's the deal. Made it to the top, summited Pen y Fan. It is right there. Some of the group made it. Check out the view. Can't beat it.
Following our week in Brecon Beacon, we packed up and shipped it out 3 hours north to Snowdonia National Park, where we would be staying in the crash pad lodges at the base of Mount Snowdon. But first, we would be challenged by what I think everyone would agree was the most challenging hike, and that was Cadair Idris.
Back, mid Wales this time, on our way towards North Wales. Today is Cadair Idris is what we're hiking. Tallest peak in mid Wales. Plan. We're gonna summit by nightfall, camp overnight, and I guess we'll see how it goes. Going all the way up there. Can't see because of the fog. Still a crazy view.
For this hike, we had to summit 893 meters or 2,905 feet, carrying 40 to 50 pound packs on our back in questionable conditions, only to set up tents on the top of a mountain in tough wind and rain to spend the night. So this was definitely where I had my Kolb cycle experience on this trip. It was my first time hiking with a large rucksack and tent camping on a mountain. So I entered the cycle at stage 1 of concrete experience, actually just doing the activity. Once our tents were all set up and we could finally breathe, I was able to actively reflect on the experience that we had just had and the hike we had just made.
We made it! 893, baby! Woo! Yeah!
Which took me into stage 2 of the cycle. And I quickly moved on to stage 3 of abstract conceptualization the next morning, where I really had time to think about what I had just observed on this past hike and the overnight experience as we climbed down the mountain, to then enter stage 4 of the cycle of active experimentation, where I mentally prepared how I would apply this experience to our upcoming hike of the tallest peak in England, which is Mount Snowdon. As you can see, we really enjoyed our time staying at the crash pad lodges. It was a place where our group really secured our bond as we cooked every meal together, spent some time singing by the fire, and enjoying the beautiful open and remote countryside of North Wales. But soon enough, it was time for our next big challenge, the 3,560-foot climb to summit Mount Snowdon.
Today's the day. Snowdon, 1,085 meters. Up there. See how many hours it takes.
Coming into Mount Snowdon, I think we were all worried that it would be our hardest hike yet, being that it's the tallest peak in England. However, after we got to the summit, we all looked at each other and our guides and agreed that it had been the easiest hike we had so far. It was just a great moment where we all realized how far we had come from our first summit of Pen y Fan and had really grown stronger together as a group through our experiences that we all had the first 2 weeks.
So we're 2 hours in, at 3/4 of the way there. How we feeling? How we feeling?
Legs are heavy.
Yeah?
We're moving.
Yeah. Cruising?
Moving.
Stop for a little bit of a view. Up there we go. Highest point in England. How's everybody feeling? Woo!
After officially conquering the 3 highest peaks in Wales, we left Snowdonia and the crash pad lodges, and our group hopped on the train for an action-packed week in Wales' capital city, Cardiff. Following Cardiff, we were sadly forced with our final but potentially most challenging week in Pembrokeshire National Park, where we partook in kayaking through rapids, co-steering, which was my personal favorite, and rock climbing in preparation for our final challenge on the last day. This week really brought the whole trip together, as our final day and challenge involved a little bit of everything that we had previously accomplished. We set out for the final challenge guns blazing to try and beat the time record by the previous group, but about halfway through we realized that it wasn't about winning on that day, but more so motivating and helping each other to complete every task, which really showed our strength and cohesiveness and our overall growth together as a group that I will never forget. And by the way, we did set the new record for the next group.
I've been up on the mountain and I've seen his wondrous grace. I've sat there on a bar stool and I've looked